In this video, I'm going to explain cold working processes. Now, the cold working, also called cold forming or cold deformation, refers to the plastic deformation of metals below their recrystallization temperature. So the typical performed at near room temperature are call it as a cold working process because the temperature is below the recrystallization temperature. Generally, the recrystallization temperature is defined as in the range of 0.3 to 0.5 times the melting temperature. So this recrystallization temperature changes from metal to metal. Now look at this diagram. It's a cold grain structure. Under the pressure of these two rollers, the structure is reshaped to this new grain structure. It's formed. Entire this process is performed below the recrystallization temperature. Then this process is called as a cold working process. If it is performed above the recrystallization temperature, then it is called as a hot working process. So the purpose, what is the main purpose? To shape the metals, improve their surface finish, increase strength and refine gray structure, and hardness is improvement is possible during the cold working process. So why cold working is required? So the improved surface finish is one aspect, and increased hardness and strength due to the strain hardening or work hardening is happening, and closer dimensional tolerances are expected, and better mechanical properties like yield strength, tensile strength are possible. So the effects of cold working. So main effect of cold working is work hardening, that is a strain hardening, and decrease its ductility property, and residual stresses are increases. Okay, these are the main effects of cold working. One is the work hardening and decrease in ductility. Residual stresses are possible. So the common cold working process, like a hot working process, the several cold working process also following. One is the rolling, and second one is the drawing, third one is extrusion, that is a cold extrusion, and fourth one is bending, fifth one is a squeezing, and sixth one is a shearing. So these are the six cold working processes. Okay, now look at this diagram, the cold working process in general. So now this the material is passing through this between these two rollers. One roller is acting as support, other roller can apply the force, and both rollers are rotating in this direction. Let us see that the supporting roller is rotating clockwise direction, whereas apply the load applied roller is rotating in counterclockwise direction, so that the metal will flow in this direction. Okay, so the whatever you can adjust this gap between the two rollers according to what thickness of the metal is required during this process. Okay, so this call it is a rolling, the rolling process. Now there is a several setup of rolling process are according to the capacity, according to the shape we are arranging. Now let us see that here several rollers are arranged in between these strip. Now immediate the strip, the rollers are on either side is called it as a work rollers. Main the work is happening through these rollers, and above these work rollers we are providing the intermediate rollers, and then backup rollers. Okay, so the backup rollers will keep that load will apply through this backup roller to intermediate roller to the work rollers. Okay, and also it's rotating. So like that several setups rollers, there is several setups are available according to the requirement. So this is called as a cold rolling process. Now you can see that what is the final shape. The flow is shown in this diagram, that hot rolled rod and cleaning and pickling coat and cold drying here. So that cold drying will happening through this cold drilling, rolling and cold drying. These are the two operations. and from this it will come to the finished product in coils, then straighten and cut required sizes, then shipping to the warehouses. So this is the general process is happening. Generally these processes are used in mainly the steel plants, wire rod mills, the steel industries, they are using these processes. So the drawing. Next, cold extrusion process. So the cold extrusion, the extrusion process is happening. See that the metal is kept here and the die is provided here. Through die, whatever the shape is will come out, that will become extruded through this die, applying the ram, the force on other side. Then this required shape of the product will come out from the original product. This is called the direct extrusion. In the direct extrusion, the direction of extruded product and ram in the same direction. Now let us see that another diagram, that is the backward or indirect extrusion. Here applied force in one direction and the extruded part in opposite direction. So now you can apply this force in this direction towards left, but the product is coming towards right. So this call it as a indirect or backward extrusion. So like both as per the requirement, we can follow either the direct extrusion or indirect extrusion. So this is the regarding the cold extrusion process. Next, the bending. So the bending is these operations are performed at room temperature, then it comes under the cold working process, and according to required the curvature we are using the different set of rollers and you can bend the structures like this. Now you can see that the frame that the channels are bent in this direction. Here the different setups are using to make the cold working processes. The squeezing. Here you can apply the die ram through the die portion, the material will come out. Excuse me. And stages in the process of shearing. Now you see that the different setups we are making, the shearing is operating. It's mainly the material is separated, so you can go for the shearing operation so that the material will at required size and length will cut out. So the cut the material through this shearing operation. So this is the shearing.